With Darksiders, Dante's Inferno and the ever-present spectre of God of War 3 looming over the entire first quarter of 2010, the battle for hack and slash supremacy is as hotly contested as ever. Enter Platinum Games contender, a high-heeled, high-haired witch with a killer body and serious librarian sex appeal. And is that a skin-tight leather outfit she's wearing? No, that's her hair. Enter Bayonetta. The story of Bayonetta makes about as much sense as a feverish Kalahari bushman, which is to say none at all, and the cutscenes, although exquisitely produced and directed, offer very little in the way of clarity. It's typical Japanese-style malarkey, something about Bayonetta waking up underwater, having forgotten her past, siding with the Inferno against the Paradiso, walking around in Purgatorio, and slowly rediscovering her Umbran witch powers, seeking out some valuable gemstones, and learning the fate of her clan and the Lumen Sages. Complete twaddle, but it's great fun to wade through nonetheless. From the outset, you're given access to a huge number of combos simply using the kick and punch buttons, but even these basic controls allow for tons of variations, particularly later on as you unlock more and more special moves. You'll also get a quartet of guns with unlimited ammo, 2 for your manicured hands and 2 to be strapped to your dainty ankles, which can also be fired at any stage or to string out and or finish attacks. And you've got every incentive to string as long and complex combos together as possible. The more buttons you press, the more Bayonetta's hairy costume unravels itself from her butt, thighs and torso, revealing more and more creamy witch flesh. Combos often end with a humongously hirsute boot or fist emerging from a portal to whack your enemies into next week. It's all a bit reminiscent of the old Battletoads game on SNES, but way cooler. You'll battle winged, beaked angels, disembodied flying cherub heads, a horde of gigantic, oversized weapon-wielding behemoths, and a particularly memorable two-headed dragon with a torso that's surely modelled on Tom Tucker's upside-down face son, among tons of other imaginative enemies. Bayonetta's also a sadistic cow. In her torture moves, you'll twirl the thumbstick or hammer buttons to fill your gigaton meter. And yes, the higher you fill that meter, the more brutal the death. From shoving an angel backwards into an Iron Maiden and slamming the door, to ramming them into a guillotine with the heel of your boot and lopping their heads off, to summoning a giant spiked wheel to pin them to the ground and go all Sonic Burnout on their backs. Sensational stuff. Boss battles are equally larger than life, and it's enormously gratifying to execute a finish move on a boss by nailing the climax event, sitting back and watching a demon dragon made out of your own hair chomp down an explosion of holy blood and brain matter. In fact, we can almost guarantee that after every frenetic fracas, you'll end up with a big dopey grin plastered across your face going, haha, awesome. When you're not beating 7 shades of sanctified shit out of your haloed enemies, you'll be wandering around Vigrid and its surrounds, clobbering angels, shooting vases and double jumping all over the place to discover secrets and delectably restorative lollipops. So much more sexual than herb spray, and solving relatively simple environmental puzzles to progress through each verse. There are 16 chapters in all, each containing multiple verses. There are a number of side points to the gameplay that add great depth overall. Drebanesque Rodin is your friendly local bartender cum arms dealer. With direct access to the back of a truck in hell, you bring him precious artifacts, and he'll return the favour by delivering, puffing and panting mind you, kick-ass special weapons. You'll be able to visit him at the beginning of each chapter and via portals scattered throughout the levels. Speaking of ethereal gateways, traipse around enough and you'll come across Alfheim portals, inside which you'll be challenged to defeat enemies in certain ways or with combat restrictions, to earn moon pearl halves. Find 2 and your magic meter will be extended by 1 unit. Similarly, find 4 scattered broken witch heart pieces and your health bar will grow. Snoop even further around levels and you'll discover bashable chests, books of Yawny lore, and arcade bullets, the last of which you'll use in end-of-level bonus rounds. Even on easy, Bayonetta is tough, partly because of the AI and partly because you'll often be straining to figure out just what the flippity gibbets is going on. In amongst oversized shaggy fists, spinning lights and boom crash opera, you're bound to cop a whack or two. Luckily, Bayonetta is super friggin' flexible and you'll spend a lot of time dodging and an equal amount of time ogling her athletic prowess as she cartwheels and backflips her way out of sticky situations. Dodging is even more important because doing so at the last possible moment initiates witch time. Time slows to a crawl and you're free for a moment to lay the smackdown on their jabroni angel asses. At other points in the game, you'll ride a motorbike and even shapeshift, taking on the form of suitably nimble and deadly animals. Graphically, the game is by no means the most impressive in terms of character and environment detail, and the level design is dead linear. What is extraordinary, however, is the artistic direction, the character animation, and the special effects. Director Hideki Kamiya's influence is obvious throughout, especially during cutscenes where unusual camera angles and extreme close-sets are used to great effect. Bayonetta herself moves and handles like a dream, and the ability to string lengthy, fluid combos together and cut them off at a moment's notice with a flip is superbly implemented. And the bad guys are as spookily, kookily supernatural as they are varied. It's not perfect, we saw a bit of screen tearing and some glitching, especially during torture moves, but it's all pretty easily forgiven in light of just how slick the rest of the game is. The soundtrack is largely female-oriented, by design, we're sure. You might be more familiar with Fly Me to the Moon being crooned by Frank Sinatra or Michael Bublé, but it's definitely an interesting experience to go around decapitating angels to it at double speed with a techno backing track. We weren't huge fans of the hammy voice acting or the wacky story in general, but hey, if the hairy glove fits. The very best thing about Bayonetta though is that it shows just what can be achieved using the same core mechanics of a genre that's been around since consoles were knee-high to a cell processor. With considerable technical genius, creative flair, artistic vision, and a healthy dose of insanity chucked in for good measure, Platinum Games has produced a game that, rather than slipping comfortably into mediocrity as it could have done, stands shoulders, heads, and a meticulously maintained crop of hair above almost all others. Which is hats off to you, Platinum. Bayonetta is money.